had no priorities in education until the vocational school here materialized, and I enrolled in it, and from that point on I began to develop more and more appreciation for education. Education I got here was the catalyst for my business. I'm Bill Zellner. I own Zellner Appliance and TV in Conway, Arkansas, as a direct result of having been a first-year student in Pettigene Votech School, which is now Community College of Marlton. Judy and I got married in August of 1962, and she liked 1 year in college, and I was working at a plant in Conway. But I always resented working in a plant and having another boss. I was raised on a farm. And when she finished school, she had the job at Greenbrier, which was our home school, offered to her. But Marlton would pay a little more money. And of course, to a newly married couple, money was important. So she decided to come on up here, and I found out the vocational school was opening up. I came up and found that the air conditioning and appliance service was something I was interested in, and enrolled. That was one of the best things that ever happened in our marriage, was the fact that I found a vocation and she had her vocation already set. Of course, you know, when Eisenhower became president, things began to, except for the Cold War and the wall in Berlin, things seemed to be pretty calm. And of course, I joined the reserves right out of high school because the incentive of, if you were under 18 and a half, you got a shorter term of active service and so forth. And I remember that all the boys that were regular Army going through training at that time were looking at going to Berlin because of the wall, you know. And then when Kennedy came along, it seemed like that he had a different attitude toward that type of thing, and he kind of had a tendency to hold them more accountable. Berlin because of the wall. We were on break for some reason. I don't remember what time of day he was killed, whether it was during our noon hour or what, but we were outside on the campus at the time, and it just, I don't know, it just hit us like a ton of bricks, you know, and you felt immediate depression and what's going to happen to us now, you know. The thing that was unique, I guess, about the class I was in is so many of the students were fresh out of high school, and they still had the high school attitude toward education. And then we had some, two older gentlemen from here in the Marlton area, and had one from Batesville, Arkansas that was older. And well, there's three here from the Marlton area. And the relationship that we had was so much different from the ones that were just out of high school and so forth. Bob Frield and Hogan Heating and Air was in that class. Glenn Whitaker, of course, from Batesville was in that class. Other classes, English and so forth, that Bill was teaching himself. He was very good at the hands-on and teaching us in the class out in the shop, where evidently I impressed him some, because one day we were sitting and he said, "Bill, I've seen your high school transcript." I said, "You didn't try, did you?" And I said, "No, I was just there mostly." And he said, "Well, you've done awfully well here." And so that was an encouragement to me that I was going to be able to conquer the course and make application. Bill had developed a colon cancer, and they said it was just a small colon cancer. At that time, there was a railroad hospital on Cantrell Road in Little Rock, and that's where he was. I took the class down, and we visited with him there in the hospital, but he never did leave the hospital. And so that was a kind of a traumatic thing to me, because Bill had become a very close mentor and friend, and but that's the reason that I filled in for him for that month, and was flattered that they asked me. The reason that I filled in for him for that month. When we first started, we had suppliers. In fact, Mr. Line, that Line College is named after, was my major supplier, and Whirlpool and RCA products at that time. And but as time is, he had a real good support system for his dealers, and thank goodness that's what got me into the retail business. I was doing service work for a local furniture and appliance store there in Conway, and I walked in one morning, and Mr. Carden said, "Bill, have you ever thought about getting into the retail business?" And I said, "No, I never have." And he said, "Well, I'm ready to give up appliances. Furniture is doing well for me." And so we worked out with Mr. Line for me to take that product in Conway. And over the next 4 or 5 years, we became his biggest dealer in Arkansas.
This totally new concept in home entertainment will expand your enjoyment of television viewing to a level that was, a short time ago, nothing more than an ambitious dream.
When they introduced the VCR years ago, people had a problem operating their VCR. How do I program it? So I was the expert, you know. And then when microwaves came out, Judy became the expert. In fact, we built the store and put a kitchen in it with a curtain that would pull back to separate the kitchen from the showroom floor, so she could do microwave demonstrations there live and set up chairs out front and invite the public to come to her cooking schools. And some of her microwave recipes today are some of the most popular in the community. I'd give anyone, like a senior in high school, if I had the opportunity to address them, and I'd advise them first to look at the job market. So many kids go through a traditional four-year college, and the courses they chose, and they wind up with no job market for it after they get out. There's so many people in the vocational trades today that are making more money than the people that went through a traditional four-year college without getting something extra over and above that to help them to get into the job force and become a part of that job force. Or if they choose the right occupation in the vocational area, they are immediately in the job market and at a very good income, which can only get better because the job market becomes more and more of people serving in areas like plumbing, heating and air, and those things, construction, and those things that a person that never picks up a hammer or a wrench or anything and goes through 4 years of college is not qualified to do. So they're hiring him to do those jobs, and they're paying him a premium to do it because they can't do it and they don't have a serviceable job experience to sell to the market. The experience that I got here and the education I got here has been a catalyst for 50-year business, and I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to have had gotten an education in a vocational area that I have thoroughly enjoyed. And I think that is probably the biggest success to our story, is that we enjoyed what we were doing and still do.